All right, let's get straight into our debate this evening. Is America hiding more than it's revealing about David Headley? Let's first go across to the United States, where we're joined by Gerald Posner, whose report we extensively quoted in our own report this evening. Gerald, thanks for your time tonight. How are you reading the developments around David Headley? The perception here is that given his past involvement with the DEA, it is not implausible that he could have worked as an undercover agent for agencies other than the DEA.
I absolutely agree with that. From my own reporting, there's little doubt that not only did he work for the DEA before the September 11th attacks here in the United States in '99 and went to Pakistan for them, but that after September 11th, within a month, the U.S. government, federal prosecutors, made a special application to the judge. They cut his sentence by 3 years. They released him, and at that point he began to travel back and forth between Pakistan and the UAE. Clearly, there was somebody, he had been transferred over from the DEA to some other part of U.S. intelligence as an informant. That is one of the reasons that I believe that U.S. authorities have refused to allow Indian investigators to interrogate him in the United States, although they claim it's a bureaucratic mishap. It's too large a decision to allow a strong ally like India not to have access to an American who was involved in the terror attack in Mumbai.
Gerald, what specifically in your investigations made you believe that he was definitely somebody who was transferred, as you said, from the DEA to some other moot and important intelligence agency?
The two major things, the two indicators, and I've written a lot about intelligence. I did a book on the Saudis and terrorism. I did a book called Why America Slept. So I've been involved in covering the intelligence trade for a number of years now, since 9/11. And there are two indicators as they come up to reporters like myself who cover this area. One is that post 9/11, you immediately have an effort by U.S. agencies to free him from prison. And what is indisputable is that on November 16th, just 2 months after the 9/11 attack, his own attorney, Headley's attorney, and an assistant United States attorney who worked for the federal government made a joint application to terminate his release 3 years early. Now, the only time that would be done is if, in fact, there was a cooperation with some federal agency. You would think it would ordinarily be the DEA, since they were the ones that had dealt with him beforehand. But the unusual thing here is he does not then start to stay in the United States, but he starts to make the trips using different aliases back and forth to Pakistan without any difficulty whatsoever. He never has a problem entering back into the U.S. at a time when many other individuals, American citizens of Pakistani descent, who were traveling back and forth to Pakistan in the aftermath of 9/11, reported considerable problems, sometimes at U.S. airports and with what was called then the new security agencies involved at the airports. Headley had none of that, because it looks as though he had the blessing of at least one federal agency that was using him possibly as an informant.
Now, Gerald, Indian intelligence agencies are, of course, focused on whether this could be true, but there's a kind of lack of clarity on whether he's an agent that went rogue or whether he's an agent that actually continued to be an agent. What's your reading of that?
Yeah, that's the part that's impossible to tell right now, and I think that's where a lot of us are doing additional work on. There is little doubt that at some point along the line, it appears that whoever may have thought that they were getting the correct information from Headley lost control of him. The fact that he has been arrested in a very public manner, that multiple charges have been brought against him, clearly indicates that at least the FBI was not in play. And what I mean by that is, if he had been the FBI's person abroad, they would have brought him in a different way than going out and literally arresting him. However, it is interesting that, his contacts, of course, had been with the very, very same terror group that pulled off the attacks eventually in Mumbai. He had worked his way into that group, in Lashkar-e-Taiba, and one of the things was that the FBI had warned about a possible attack in Mumbai in September of 2008.
Tuba.com